start. Got a lot of guys in the game, which is important. Man, I was proud to see the crowd. It's a shame when you get excited about I don't know what it was, but I don't know what the final numbers were, but I thought it was a good crowd, good energy. I thought our guys brought the right approach, which is something that as a coach, is very, very important. And I thought, despite some flaws, some things that we can certainly control, I thought overall it was a good first night.
Obviously, you look at Jelly, just talk about his ability to just kind of take over, because he got 13 in the first half that matches that in the first 5 minutes in the second.
Yeah, he's an incredible shot maker. That's what he does. And that's what we need him to do. I thought he was efficient. I look at his numbers. He gets to the free throw line. He does not turn the ball over. He knocks down shots with such a speed. And, coming into the game, it's well documented. Tony Matlock and I are friends. He worked for me at Ole Miss for 4 years. His best player, his son, TJ, I grew up in our program. I remember when the kid was a lot smaller than he is now. Boy, what a good player he's turned into. And so one of the things we talked about is at South Carolina State, this is his first game at Alabama State. They played fast. They rebounded the ball, and guess what? They came in here and they played fast and they rebounded the ball. So I didn't think tempo was going to be an issue. We're sitting here at 111 points. We shot the ball very, very efficiently, 53 from the floor, 42 from three. Made most of our free throws. We don't turn it over. Shared the ball again, save for a few things that we can certainly control. I thought it was a good first night.
With Darius Brewer having the threes early, it seemed like he kind of carried you in that sense early scoring.
Yeah, I thought, again, our energy was terrific. I thought our pressure was problematic to them. It sped them up some, and they want to play fast, but I thought they took some shots that probably, as they're watching this film tonight, they'll be like, well, that was a little rushed, and some of that is a byproduct of our pressure. And we got into a big lead, and we're in complete control, and got good energy from the building initially. And then I got into my bench, and we didn't respond very good. And then all of a sudden you look up, and it's a 1 or 2 possession game again. But L.A. was the guy that set the tone, and then when they got back and I got him back in the game, he came right back and responded and pushed the thing back up to 20 before they knew what had happened.
You look at Trey, he's really kind of setting this tone with physicalness, as well as just really making shots. You look at that skyhook he's got going on.
Man, he's just
reminds me a little bit of Kareem.
Well, what's crazy? He's just all over the place, man. We call it pursuing the ball. He pursues that ball, and he was doing a great job of finishing at the rim. Him and KJ both. I thought KJ was terrific. Look at his stat line: 8 points, 10 rebounds. He's 1 for 1, 6 for 6. Pretty efficient. 16 minutes or 18 minutes of work. Picked up the 2 early fouls, but I think. People are going to talk about our guards, and obviously Jelly, the reigning player of the year, bringing in a guy like Ladarius Brewer, bringing in a guy like Eric Gaines. Those guys get a lot of the headlines, but I really think our front court and the development of our depth along our front court is going to be a huge key for us.
Obviously, you look at that. You just mentioned that with Buffett's first fouls. That took him 8.5 minutes to get that first one. Get the second one real quick, but after that, nothing out of that. Just talk about kind of having that maturity going into this season.
We need him. We need him to be a leader. I look at the plus minus. He's plus 36 in his minutes on the floor. That's important for us. We need him. He's a guy, again, he's a COVID senior that has played a lot of basketball, and he's a very, very important part of what we're trying to get accomplished. I think, again, we've got to figure out, the ebbs and flows of rotations. The way this game was played was such a electric pace. We were able to get a lot of guys in. A lot of different guys contributed.
With Eric Gaines, do you feel like you said he got loose with the ball a few times the other day, but you feel like he shored that up a little bit today?
Well, he had 3 turnovers, and I think a couple of those may have been, the offensive foul. He stripped the guy in the first half. That was his only turnover. He's super loose with it, but sometimes, you can watch some guys that play a certain way, and you look like, man, they leave you wanting more. You're like, he's got to play a little harder. But sometimes he's so smooth with it. That's just the way that he plays. It's uncharacteristic of him. He is not a very emotional guy. One of the few on my team that is not. And he gets him and the opponent were chirping a little bit. You get the first one to set the tone, and then at the end he gets the second one. He's ejected from the game. So I hate that for him because he was not able to play the last 13, 14 minutes of the game. And he's a guy that we need to continue to get reps. But E.G.'s going to be fine. You look at his numbers, man. He has 11.6 rebounds and 4 assists in about 22 minutes. Pretty solid. Still got to get tighter with the ball, and that's something we'll continue to harp on.
David Lovett only had 5 points, but he just seems to go out there and just do the job every single time.
Well, he's a guy, again, we've started L.A. because of what L.A. showed tonight, his ability to knock down shots, and it creates openness in our half-court system. I think, Jelly tonight goes for 38 points, and it didn't seem like he worked nearly as hard as he had to in the past, simply because we have more guys, and the spacing is a lot different for him. So as opposed to having to beat 3 guys to get a basket, now he's beating 1, maybe 2, and a lot of that is just based on the spacing. So L.A. is, and he certainly delivered tonight with knocking down open shots. Tave is a downhill driver. I still thought a couple of times he countered at the end as opposed to going through. I say, man, say it with your chest. Go through him, because he's obviously dynamic in that regard. But Tave, we know what we have there. We've just got to continue to push and push and push to get him to be the best version of himself.
Was the little change in the starting lineup from the other night, was that more out of practice stuff, or can you do stuff with the opponent?
Some of it is schematic and based on scouting, but some of it is based on, we're early in this process. It's based on who performs. Eric did not start in the exhibition game because he was tardy to practice, some other stuff. KJ, again, had some other stuff going on. So, it's game to game, and that's the way that it should be. I don't think there's a lot of differentiating between, guy 4 and guy 7. Guy 4 is probably going to be happy tonight playing 20-something minutes. Guy 7 may not be. Those things are still fluid, though, as we continue to try to form an identity as a team. Thank you.
Surprised you came out with 38 points? What would you say when you came out?
That doesn't really surprise me because I know I can score, but I mean I'm just happy to get a win with this new group of guys and start the season off good.
How what does LA kind of bring to this team, especially with you being able to get out there, make open threes,
Yeah.
kind of get y'all started on that and not having to rely on you so much?
Yeah, I mean, like I say all the time, he's a tremendous player. And having LA on the team with us, last year we struggled a lot to shoot, you know what I'm saying, especially from that 3 spot. No disrespect to Quan Jackson, but he was more like a slasher type. Having another dude who's a spot-up shooter to where Eric can make plays, you know what I'm saying, for either me or I can make plays for LA, you know what I'm saying. So I think having LA on the floor, it just opens up the floor so much. Because if they help, wide open 3.
Seemed like a couple times early in the game you were a little frustrated when the ball didn't go down, whether it be 3 or.
Yeah.
Were you frustrated a little bit early?
I mean a little bit because I work so hard on my game, you know what I'm saying. So, but I had to. My coach was telling me like just relax, let it come to you, and you'll be fine. Like, but the threes I was missing, they were in and out, you know. So I wasn't really worried. I was more so upset because they were going in and out, not like left or right, you know what I'm saying. So I just didn't know how to really adjust it because I feel like the three's supposed to go down, you know. But
Just talk about kind of that second half. You really kind of opened up and really took charge in those first few minutes. You matched your 13 first half points.
Yeah.
5 minutes and really just kind of took control from that point.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the ball was just in my hands more in the second half. The first half, I had the ball, but not as much, you know. So I think in the second half, I felt more comfortable because the ball was in my hands a little bit more. But kudos, like I say, to my teammates and stuff like that. They were getting me open on the screens, and LA hit me in the opposite corner on that out of bounds play, and EG hit me on the trailer, even though I missed, but that got me going a little bit too. So yeah.
One thing AK just said was he felt like tonight that you didn't have to quite work as hard for your shots.
Oh,
as you did
not-
last year. Do you feel it different?
Absolutely, because it's because last year, like even when the team started denying me and stuff like that, all right, you can have someone else bring up the ball, and then he has a mismatch. So like LA, he could bring up the ball, and then he has a mismatch. Now he can get to the rim. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to pick your poison with us. You know what I'm saying? So I think definitely this year, it takes a lot of weight off my shoulders because I don't have to do everything. You know, and it makes it easier for me to score. I think this might have been, like, no disrespect to ASU, but like the easiest like 30-point game I've had in college. Man, 30-point game I've had at UAB. You know, so like it was so easy because so many players, they were worried about so many other players, especially like Eric. You know what I'm saying? They were so worried about him getting to the lane, you know what I'm saying, getting by people, just making them help. You know what I'm saying? Converging the defense. So when I got the ball, I was damn near wide open every time.
What is Trey Jemison doing for this team, especially kind of setting that tone, physicality early, almost off the tip?
Yeah, we literally spoke about it earlier this morning. We were saying like, hey, like this is the start of something special. Like, let's go out with a bang. Let's be legends at UAB. You know what I'm saying? But it starts one game at a time. But that physicality and that toughness he brings, that's what we need day in and day out. Whether it's practice, whether it's a game, you know what I'm saying. And he's one of the leaders on our team, me and him, but more so him because he's been here longer than me. You know what I'm saying? I might get all the accolades and stuff like that, but Trey really is the voice of UAB, you know? So having him on the floor and when he's being that physical presence and being that dominant presence, you know, it makes the game easier for us because, like I said, we got 2 dynamic guards on the perimeter. Now we got LA who's making shots too, so that's really 3. And then we got Trey in the paint with KJ Buffin. It's hard to stop, you know what I'm saying? It's a hard team to stop.
How do you feel like the whole team played overall outside of your game?
I feel like we played well offensively. I feel like defensively we didn't play as well as we should have. I feel like they scored way more points than we should have allowed them to score. And if we want to be one of the best teams when it comes March, and obviously we got to take it one day at a time, but that's our goal. You know what I'm saying? And it starts now. And we have to lock in on that defensively because if the better we are defensively, and it proved last year, the more defense we played, the better we were. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, we're going to score. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to score. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really worried about defense, and offense. Nor is AK worried about offense, but defense, that's one thing we have to really, really lock in on. And I think practice, well, not tomorrow, but the next day, I'm going to really try to set the tone defensively to make sure everybody else is with us. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate it.